Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. Buenos dias. Good morning, good morning. I pray that Sambi lo hakutar and Sambi blesses you guys. Another day, another dollar. Cloudy day today. 50 degrees, not too bad. With a little wind, so you could feel a little of the cold, but it's not that bad. This morning I was thinking about the way things have evolved. A lot of things evolved, not just in humanity and between ourselves and the world, but also in Kisimalong with the way a lot of the elders practice and a lot of the, the kind of concepts that they believed in. The way a lot of it has changed within time, not to a big extent, but things change. And I was here thinking about how back in the days it was believed that when you did any spiritual work for someone, there was across another country or island or whatever, any person that was in another place that had to cross, that you would have to cross the sea to get to that island or that state or whatever your country may be. It was believed that the spirit would not go beyond the water, the sea, meaning it would not cross over sea. So that means that if you did any type of belongo to someone, any type of witchcraft, or you try to help a person that was in a country that was surrounded with water or had to pass water, then that work would not work. That was the belief that a lot had back in the days. And it's just to show how things evolve, how some things changes. So they used to have a tratado. Well, they still do. Now it's used for something else. Some still use it for that same purpose, but now that same tratado is actually implemented in a different way to mean something else, and that will go in the nganga, right? It's a type of bamboo that they use with certain things inside, and they would conform this parcel, meaning the bamboo as a parcel, and they would put certain things inside there, and for their thought process and their understanding, by having that inside the nganga, that would let the spirits, whatever they needed to do, the spirit would use that, and they were able to pass over to another country, pass over the sea. So now whatever work you did was able to go over into another land that was surrounded with water or had to pass water. That was one of the belief systems that a lot of them had. Now, for you can see how things evolve with time, they understood that they didn't need that for a spirit to pass or to go to another place, search someone out, because they understood that not only was the spirit working in a different realm, the abilities that spirits have to shift and move, it wasn't the same as the way if it was a human being that needed to get on a boat to go meet somebody or to fight somebody or to kill somebody or to do harm. But you see the movies, right? The way they contract people to kill somebody, and then people get on planes and they'll go murder the person. Well, I'm only using that as an example. So the perspective changed, the understanding changed, that they didn't need that type of bamboo with the things that they put in there in order to do a witchcraft or a bilongo or a type of medicine to help a person that lived in another part of the world where you would have to cross water. So that changed. And they understood within time that they didn't need to do that no more. So, like I said, some still have this tratado and they still have it in the Nganga because they believe this. But then there's the same thing. There's a tratado now that they do with using a type of bamboo as a parcel, but it's used for something else. It's used for a different purpose. So what they did is they now use it for a different purpose, and it means something different, and it does something different in the Nganga for that spirit to work with or use. You know, that's why I say that it's good to learn these traditional old concepts, right? But then also think about it in a broader sense and look at things and understand things in a sensible way. You know, what makes sense other than you as a human being working a daily job, doing daily things? You know, what are your limitations as a human? You know, and then study, research, think, what are the limitations, if any, for spirits? You know? So, just an example to show you just with that. Now, I can't give you guys the tratado, you know. I can't give you guys what type of bamboo. That's part of that's secret stuff, you know. We can't give that out. And you know, the purpose why it's used for now. And like I said, still some people still do it. Some Ngangoleros still do it to represent that, to give it that purpose. And then now these days, a lot of them don't use that. Some don't use it at all. Some don't use it at all, even with the other purpose that it has, that it represents and it does, they don't use it at all. But a lot of them still do. Not for the spirit to cross over, because it's understood that a spirit could go whatever realm it has to go to. You understand? Whatever place. It all depends of what type of spirit, the force of the spirit, and the abilities of that spirit to maneuver and to get into certain doorways. They say doorways. To be able to manipulate and do whatever you need it for it to do. See, this is not like in the movies. You understand? We have to understand that things are a little bit more beyond just, you let's say you send the spirit, right, to do. You know, you don't want to do some heavy damage to a person, so you just send a spirit out to do some type of damage, put some type of imbalance in somebody's life, right? And somebody's dikenga. Now, that spirit is gonna find a way of how could he manipulate or she something to make something happen, to cause a reaction or an action. And you guys might be thinking about, well, how does that work? Well, you know, let's say you're driving, right? And you have someone behind you that it's not it's a person that's not he could be on drugs, they could be sleepy, they could have worked a long shift, they could have been drunk or anything. And we know there's a big possibility there's somebody that's on drugs or drunk or sleepy. Is a big possibility these persons could have accidents. So, you know, if a spirit could find that particular moment and your time and the time where you at, and implement and use that drunken person or that drug addict person behind that wheel, then he will use it or she will use it to crash their car against you. You understand? These are the ways, these are some of the ways things happen. You know, it's not that the spirit grabbed your wheel and it turned the wheel for you and it made you crash. It could happen. That's got to be a wicked, a powerful, very powerful spirit to do that. But it's possible. It's not impossible. I'm just trying to give an example in a way without giving too much out, for you guys to understand that this ain't like the movies. You know, there are things in place. You know, there are things in your life that are in place. There are times where you in your life already are gonna live a certain experience, and it's already set in stone that you're gonna live that. You know, and that's why, you know, people that deal with the spiritual realm, that's why they learn and have the ability to manipulate these times and these things that are set for you to live. And they could use them to retard you back of not living it. They could use them to fast forward them, to make you live it faster. Whatever it may be. An accident, an injury, a heart attack, whatever you could think of. Look at it like you are almost like a machine that has integral parts in you and mechanisms. They work in certain ways, you know, and functions and has its purpose to do certain things. So if a spirit could interrupt any of those mechanical objects or mechanical purposes that you have in order for you to be able to operate as a machine, they just say, right, was an example, then it would find a way of how to do something to interrupt that machine. The ability for that machine to function in its proper form, in its proper manner, or the way it was built and conformed, and the timing. It has to do with timing. If you look at vehicles have timing chains and a timing belt. Now a lot of them have timing belts. If the car is not in its proper timing, number one, you have the great possibility that it won't start. Number two, it has a possibility that it'll start, but it will sputter. You know, because it's not put and set at the correct timing. So just like a car, we also have things set in our life, and it's like a timing belt that spins and spins and spins that we have to live, or we are going to live. And if you look at even in the other ATRs, you know, you hear this word osogbo. Oh, you're gonna live this osogbo, or you're gonna live this negative part, you know, in your life. If you don't do ebo, if you don't do this work for the santos or the spirits could stop that or delay that from happening to you. That's why you hear these things, you know? So now it all has to do with how fast you catch it. And it also has to do with how powerful or how strong is that witchcraft sent to you with the purpose that it was sent to you for you to be able to retard it. Let's say esquivar. Esquivar is like when you're playing basketball and the guy's trying to take the ball and you move real quick, you know, and it doesn't touch you. Well, same thing like that. You understand? You have to learn, you know, the offense and the defense. In other words, you know, you can't play offense all the time, and you can't play defense all the time. You have to know when to switch. That's something that I'm being taught, to learn how to switch. But you know, this is just a short video of explaining how things evolve, why did back in the days the tradition did things a certain way, and how we still keep a lot of the stuff from the old ways, but we have also evolved and have different understandings of how things work these days, 2024. You know, I pray you guys have a great day. Be blessed. Look like I'm gonna get some rain here in Philly because it's still cloudy. Have a safe day, and Yes, I'm